A lot of European countries generally require you to publicize all information about corporations and other entities. Though I think Sweden is the worst. I think that they basically require you to like publicly post all of your tax information and income and stuff. And that's why a number of high net worth Bitcoiners have been physically attacked in Sweden. But other than that, it's also interesting because I would say Europe in general defaults to stronger physical security for whatever reason. I'm sure it's historical. Europe has had many wars over many centuries. America, not so much. In America, we build our houses very cheaply, and there's generally not much physical security. Someone might get a security system or something, which is usually a joke. But, we don't have, even for example, what I'm looking at the window right now, basically steel shutters across everything that make it very difficult for someone to physically break in. And the construction is going to be like stone and cinder block. And, that's probably, I guess, because you don't have quite as much lumber and timber as we do in America. So it varies. And these are all trade-offs though, right? Is like the flip side is that in European countries, the firearm ownership is usually much more challenging, if it's even possible at all. Switzerland is, I think, an exception to that. But even then, I'm pretty sure Switzerland requires you to keep everything locked up and out of reach. Whereas in America, we may not have the greatest physical security for our actual property, but we're basically allowed to have loaded guns laying around wherever we want. And, that's part of the freedom and responsibility that comes with some of our constitutional rights. So, these are all trade-offs. When it comes to general safety, obviously you can look at the crime statistics, and generally, if you're living in an area that is economically well off, there's not going to be as much crime. So unfortunately, a lot of it comes down to your own finances and what you can afford.
I think that's super interesting because of the concept basically of the ascending world and the descending world. And I think, that also goes a lot into Bitcoin economics and how there are some places that are kind of aligned with Bitcoin and the ethos, and they will probably do well in the long run. And there are other places that are inevitably declining. Which places are you bullish on, especially when it comes to Bitcoin?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, I think an easy one is that El Salvador seems to be on the up and up. Now, there is some controversy around how they've done that. Obviously, if you throw a lot of people in prison, then those people can't be walking around committing crimes. So it's always this trade-off and debate between safety and freedom, right? In many countries where I think you could argue that they are safer, you could also argue that the individual citizens don't have the same level of freedom. And this, I think, has to be an individual decision. Obviously, I lean more on the side of being less safe but more free to go about and do what I want without having some authority telling me how to live my life.